this is an unboxing of Imposter Kings. This is a game that I got recently. A friend of mine contacted me looking to review, make some content for this game. Let me just center that a bit better. And the review network that I was going to be doing it for is shut down. So this is just me putting out some video content for them because I actually really like this game. It's really cool. The game is called Imposter Kings. It was kind of pitched to me as a game similar to Love Letter, like a light card game. Right. And it's a telescoping box. It's quite nice and fit into it there. There we go. Alright, so first thing is the rulebook. Single fold, staple middle. Nice QR code adds on the back so you can go straight to the YouTube. They've got a Discord community, all that kind of stuff. And you can see all the, it's a bit blurry, but it's good diagrams. All the explanation is really good. There's a lot of nicely put out text in there. Next is all of the cards, and a really nice insert that makes it all fit in there really nice. I was actually really impressed with that. And the box is super sturdy as well, like indestructible. Indestructibly sturdy. So I finally managed to actually get the cards out of the plastic. Here we go. So we've got the Fool. Look at that nice art. And then on the back, nice clean logo. And the cards all have this really nice gloss on them too. And then the Assassin. The Elder. And then the Zealot. The Inquisitor. The Executioner. And then the Soldier. The Judge. And we've got the Oathbound. This one's one of my favorite ones. The Herald. As you can see, all the art is so gorgeous. The Mystic. The Warlord. The Warden. What else we got? And it's the Sentry. And the Spy. You see there's a lot of characters in this game. King's Hand. And we've got the Princess, you know, who we're writing all of her love letters to. The Queen. Such an amazing outfit, look at that. And then the Impersonator. The Elocutionist. This one was a cool one as well. And we've got the Oracle. And then there's two different types of king. And we've got True King and then regular kings. And then a whole host of reminder cards. There's 5 different kinds based on the different number of play counts, the different setups, and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much all the unboxing. And then we're gonna cut right to my thoughts on the gameplay and how the game handles and how it matches up to the other games that it compares to. So that was our unboxing video. And I'm actually really impressed with a lot of the different components and production quality of this game. Now, I only got to play with 2 players, and I can see that in the same way that Love Letter does, because it like is inspired on Love Letter. In Love Letter, when you have 3 or 4 players, there's so much more unknown information, and you're not just able to just do your thing to, like, this is my path to victory. You have to try and play off what other people are doing and avoid losing, rather than choosing a road to take to victory, which is part of the fun of it, and part of it is negotiation. And Imposter Kings definitely has something similar going for it, where in a 2-player game, there's a lot of stuff like resource management and card counting, and like knowing exactly the composition of the deck and having an assumption on what someone's going to choose as their successor and stuff like that, which is going to come into play a lot less in a 4-player game, because you're like, look, there's no way I can predict if somebody's got something. And stuff like the Soldier and Inquisitors, which require you to name a card, sort of like Guard in Love Letter, are going to be much more difficult, because like you can't guarantee that you're going to hit. But in a 2-player game, you're like, okay, what card's not in my hand? Okay, then it's like guaranteed to hit. And because there's a large spread of cards in the game to learn, there's a bit of a learning curve in starting off. In playing my first game, the way that the flipping the king over and the way that the successor worked, we did it wrong. We didn't quite catch on to that the first time. And then afterwards, it's like, oh, okay, it disgraces something, and then, okay, whoops, we'll fix that, make sure we're doing it correct the next time, and stuff like that. So like, there's good quick play rules for trying to make sure that you're not overwhelmed in getting into it, and it has like a modified deck of cards to use, so you're not learning so much to get started, which is really good. But then once you've gotten over that hurdle, you know how to play the game, you understand what some of the cards do, you then are able to, as a player, have the ability to modify this set of cards however you want, because there's quite a few to choose from, and the different player counts suggest different cards to be in the deck. But because there's like a lot that you normally wouldn't even use in a 2-player game, you can be like, look, I don't like this particular card, let's replace it with something else, or stuff like that, which I think is really cool. And there's a few cards in there that I really like how they work. The Assassin, for one, if you've seen any gameplay videos for this, usually comes out and it's a really big exciting moment where they're like, oh, you had to get your successor because you don't have cards or you're unable to play something. Here's the Assassin, I've won the game. I've pushed you into this corner, this is my win condition. Which like feels like a satisfying victory, rather than getting to the end and your opponent's like, oh, I cannot do anything, which is kind of cool. There's some other stuff like how there's a lot of cards that check royalty, like for example, Princess and Queen are like both worth 9 points and they are royalty, and like they have a relatively powerful effect. But then there's other cards like Elder, which costs 3, and it says you can put the Elder onto any royalty and it doesn't have to be a high number, which means that you can like basically reset where the throne is. You're like all of a sudden not looking for something that costs 9 or 10 points to play. You can now go back to 3 and kind of reset it and start playing stuff against. You're not trapped into a corner. And so a lot of stuff like that has timing restrictions, you're trying really hard to use efficiently. You're trying to like, oh no, if I Elder now, am I just helping them out? They might not be able to play anything on the night anyway. Which is interesting. Like, it's got a really good resource management sort of thing where you're like, if I use this now, is it kind of a waste? Like, I'm going first, if I play this thing, it's not going to have an effect, but it's a good number or whatever. Like, this kind of dichotomy between ability and the score of the card, and some of the stronger ones are like right in the middle where they're like good number, good effect. And then there's stuff like the Fool, which is like bad number, really good effect. And because the number's 1, you can't really play it on the first turn because its effect won't like do anything. And so then you're forced to kind of time everything really well, right? And in I assume a 3 or 4 player game, you're going to be making just like do the best that I can kind of plays, but there's going to be 4 king activations instead of 2, and the assassin can kill 1 person, which I think will be really interesting to see. And I am excited to play this game with a few more players, because I think I'm like really confident in that this will be a good, hey, you've played Love Letter, alright, now here's the next thing. Which is going to be interesting because Castles of Calyria is a game that I designed, which is basically Love Letter, but hey, here's the next thing. Except that Castles of Calyria is more of a building your own tableau and like locking down your own strategy. This is the path that I'm taking, this is where I'm going to the victory. I'm going to destroy your princess spire that I just traded you at the marketplace, or I've got 3 battlements that are going to score me 9 points. And the way that the strategy works in that is trying to work along what you've been given. This goes in a different direction. Imposter Kings says, hey, you've got half of the deck in your hand already. Do your best. You know, don't die. Which is really interesting to see how the predecessor does something very different, and Love Letter is like incredibly light compared to both of these games, and to see 2 different people's perspectives on how something has been interpreted. It's like walking out of a movie and the person's like, yeah, I really like this thing, but like every time Godzilla showed up and there was always monster fighting, it was too much. I needed more story, more dialogue. And then there's like big Godzilla fans that are like, why could you feel that way? And it's interesting to see that I played Love Letter and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do with Love Letter. I want to make it so that you're building a tableau. It's a Love Letter, but you put your cards down on the table instead of sculpting the perfect hand. In this, you're sort of playing musical chairs, or you're trying to be the person that's last seen on the throne, which is really interesting. You're going from a big hand size to a really small hand size, and you're doing your best to use everything efficiently. Whereas in Castles of Calyria, you always have 2 cards, drawing your third, and you're like, okay, which one of these sucks the least? And that's a different design philosophy, but it's interesting to see that the Venn diagram between these 2 games is Love Letter, and that's really cool to me, and I'm excited to see a bit more of how this goes. I'm really excited to have this game in my collection because the production quality is crazy. That's why I really wanted to do the unboxing video, so I wasn't just standing here being like, here's this game that you can't see or know or anything about. I'm going to put links to the store in the description. This is not something I normally do on my channel. I was hoping to do this review for the Australian Tabletop Gaming Network, which recently is gone. But I was really impressed with this game and I really wanted to put out some video content for them. So if you've enjoyed my game, Castles of Calyria or Love Letter, and you're excited to try something new and a bit more backstabby, this is definitely a good pick for you. Thanks for hanging out.